Mukasey. He's the Attorney General now. He's promised to be independent, and he has done no such thing. He's been covering for the Bush administration the whole time. And I don't say that because I don't like anybody in the Bush administration. I practically fawn over Defense Secretary Robert Gates. I think Paulson's done a decent job at Treasury. He's got some issues, but overall I could live with it, right? But Mukasey's not one of those guys. He is a sycophant. He has done every single thing the Bush has asked him to do in covering up these scandals. Now, the problem he's got is his own folks at the Justice Department, people that work underneath him, career attorneys, have put together reports saying the hiring practices at the Justice Department were clearly and completely illegal, right? So how is Mukasey going to cover for Bush on this one? I mean, they got him dead to rights, right? They hired people based on their political affiliation, and they wouldn't hire Democrats, and they wouldn't hire progressives, and they only hired Republicans, which is, once again, let me repeat it, illegal, right? This is for career attorneys, not for political appointments. Obviously, for political appointments, you can look at their politics. What does Mukasey, the new Attorney General, come out and say today? First, he says, and the press is giving him credit for this, tut, tut. Alberto Gonzalez should, not that he did something wrong, but he should have been more aware of what his underlings were doing and that they were doing this illegal program. So, bad Gonzalez, bad Gonzalez. Well, I would say that that's a little bit of an understatement. You think that, as always with the Bush administration, these people at the lower levels just decided, you know what, I just cook up something. I'll cook up an illegal hiring program from orders from no one. I'd like to get myself in trouble. I'd like to be in the subject of an investigation. And so I'm going to go ahead and do an illegal hiring program based on politics. Oh, no, but don't tell Gonzalez, and nobody from the White House ordered it. That's what we're supposed to believe. How stupid do they think we are? Well, they think we're very stupid, and by we, in this case, I mean the media, because most of the media just wrote it up dutifully. Mukasey was kind of tough on the former Justice Department officials. Whoa! Was he? Senator Feingold's asking. He says, so what accountability is there going to be in these hearings? And Mukasey says, wow. I mean, you see him, he literally stumbles for about, 10 seconds or so. Accountability? Accountability. And then, of course, he goes into his pat answer about, oh, don't worry, we got it under control now, and there will be no more illegal hiring. And Feingold says, and he does it very respectfully, a lot more than I would have. Very calm, and he's like, yeah, I didn't ask you what you were going to do going forward. I was just asking about accountability. So for the people who committed these crimes, so what happens? And Mukasey's answer is, nada, nothing. Well, they don't really work at the Justice Department anymore, and this is really a civil infraction, and not every time you break the law is it a crime. Huh, interesting. Now, he's not technically wrong about that. It was a civil infraction, and you don't go to jail every time you break the law. Wish they had remembered that when there was this tiny little thing about lying about sex in an earlier administration. But don't worry about those things. That's just side stuff, okay? So he says, no, we won't prosecute them. We won't fire them because they're not at the Justice Department anymore. And basically, there will be absolutely and positively no punishment whatsoever. But he does that to add at the end there. Oh, but don't worry. Now we know about it, and so they have suffered some sort of public rebuke. Oh, have they been rebuked? Whew. I thought that for a second they were going to go home without a rebuke. Right now, Monica Goodling and Kyle Sampson and Alberto Gonzalez and Karl Rove must be thinking, wow, people got rebuked. Mukasey, you are a tough Attorney General. Going around handing out those rebukes. This is a joke, man. It's an absolute and utter joke. And think about this. And, of course, once again, the rest of the media hasn't thought about this at all. But let me bring it to your attention. Doesn't this show that any administration, if they want to, can come in and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do an illegal political hiring and firing program. I'm going to clean house. I'm going to fire every Republican in here. Let's say if it's a Democratic administration. I'm going to fire every attorney that I think is mildly Republican. By the way, that would be a purge, right? I'm going to purge them all. And then I'm going to hire wall-to-wall Democrats. And then afterwards, the two people that I put in charge of that program will conveniently step down and will be rebuked. and there'll be no crime, no penalty, no nothing, and everybody will go on with their lives. And then all of a sudden, the entire Justice Department is full of partisan Democrats. Or, if a Republican administration did it, partisan Republicans, kind of like what they did in this administration. So, if you don't punish anybody for breaking the law, and there are no consequences and no accountability, what you're doing is, and Mukasey should know this because he's a lawyer, he used to be a judge, you're setting a precedent saying, go ahead and do it again, because there are no consequences. Democrats can do it, Republicans can do it. I don't want the Democrats to do it. I don't want the Republicans to do it. I want the career attorneys at the Justice Department to actually care about justice and not about politics, not about being a Democrat or a Republican. But we just send a message to all of them and saying, don't worry about it, man. You'll never get punished. Never, ever, ever, ever. Of course, if you have sycophants like Mukasey, whose whole job is to cover the ass of the Bush administration, and you have these people who don't give a damn about the country or our justice system or our Justice Department, that's the way it'll work.